Right, I'm picking up pretty much straight away on the back of this steel video. I've noticed that this floor was here, but there's no ventilation in this floor. This is solid concrete, and this, you can see, has started to rot. This is why you have to ventilate floors. That's why on this floor over here, behind this damp-proof course, there's a whole load of air bricks that are going to allow air to circulate around this portion of the floor, same way that we've got air bricks all the way at the front on that bit around there, because otherwise you end up with rot here. And there is loads of ventilation coming through from the front of the house, but these are punky and rotten, so we're going to have to change this. We're going to have to sort something out. I'm going to cut them out now and see what's going on under there. I just chopped the end off this here. You can see the rot is spreading to here. Just going to keep nibbling this back and see how far it goes. My multi-tool is almost out of battery and the blade is pretty blunt, and it is just devouring this. So it's not good. It's not in good condition at all. That is not how wood is meant to be. This one over here is a little bit soft. I can push it with my finger, which isn't good. There's a nail precariously close to this pipe here as well. So I'm just going to excavate all of this, find out what I'm dealing with. You can see there's rot back here as well. So there's obviously quite a bit for me to investigate here, and I will see what's going on. Right, so I'm just doing a bit more discovery here, and this is a good little piece of news. So this was nailed in here, just under there, and you can see the rot that's on that piece there. But this piece here is completely sound and solid. There's no issue with anything on that. And so, well, I'm not keeping that piece. I think it's going to be a similar situation here with these, where it looks as though anything that's touching or up against this concrete here has started to rot. Anything back from that is okay. Which makes sense. Not entirely sure what I'm going to have to do about it though. Don't know if you can see, but down there, that's a course of bricks that goes all the way to the floor. So I don't know if those are kind of like mini footings or if they were just little piers of brick that they set up to support these walls. They're not structural, but oh, they could be actually. Obviously they're structural, that's why they're there. But so I don't want to take them out, I don't want to touch them. But I wonder whether this, I have the feeling that this is going to be full of concrete, and I really don't want to get excavating this the entire way down. So it might be a case of screeding this and leaving it, because I've got ventilation on this side and I've got ventilation at the front of the house, and this does all run through. What I think I might end up doing is chopping out these bits of wood here, and I will reinstate some new ones with a damp-proof membrane effectively lapped on the wood and down that way, so it protects it, so none of the wood is touching against that. Then I will pour a new screed here, so I'll lift up all of these old tiles and I'll break up all of this. I'll put a new screed layer down, and that'll be that. And it may even be, because we've got underfloor heating going in, we were due to have underfloor heating in here, in the utility, and in that room there. It may be that the underfloor heating can go in that layer of screed. We'll have to see. I'll need to do a little bit more investigation first, but I'm certainly not pulling this up and putting a suspended floor in here. So it's the next morning, and I was doing a bit of thinking about my floor in the kitchen. And you may remember from the last job I did in, well, not the last job, one of those jobs I did up in Marylebone, where I was meant to replace the floor and ended up excavating 17 cubic meters. If you haven't seen that, I'll post a link to that up here. And that was much the same thing. Found a floor that I wasn't expecting and then needed to excavate it, and I think that's actually what I'm going to do here. That was probably just oversized practice for this job, because I can't leave the concrete in there. I want a suspended timber floor in there because I know what I'm dealing with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down, excavate it out a little bit, and I'm going to find out what's going on down here. once I know how deep this goes, how far it is, what the problem is, I can then clear the rest of it out. Either get a digger in here and dig it out, or if it's not that, if it's a bit shallow concrete, then I can just do it by hand and get a skip and have it taken away. But I can't leave the concrete. I'm not going to pour more screed or anything like that. I'm going to get this up and it's going to become a suspended timber floor. Right, so dug a hole, little tester. Depending on who you're asking, this is about 6 or 8 inches of concrete, depending on who's being asked, and then it's basically just soil. So this isn't too bad. I'll be able to break this out relatively quickly and basically just shove it in a skip, dig down to the same depth as that, there or thereabouts, enough to give me 150 mil of airflow. I'll be taking out this course of bricks along here. I'll be leaving that pier in there. I don't want to touch the external as much as I can, but obviously we've got a steel now which is bearing down on here and here, so I want to leave that one, but I'll be taking this out. I'll be replacing that with timber. All of this is going to get taken out in the next few days, and then I can clear the whole floor out basically. Shove it in a skip. Morning, welcome back to the channel. It is Friday now. I didn't get anything done yesterday, I was out all day, so I'm still at the kind of running the joists around sort of phase, like this. What I need to start doing is taking out a lot of this brick here, because this brick wall and the window is going to go, all of that's gone, and so I need to take this out here so that my floor can vent the whole way across the back here. But I still need to support the timber along this wall here, so I need to support the joist, basically starting at that point there, support it the whole way along, but it's going to be free floating at this point here, and then it'll be re-supported at that point over there. So over here obviously going to be a double joist, but before that I've got a really boring job. Let me turn the camera around. All of this, it's an absolute mess. Brickies have left it like that, I've left it like that, and it's not really very good. So I'm going to be spending the morning, it's really dull, but it's got to be done. Safety is right next to cleanliness in my opinion. So I've got a skip, which is good, from a relatively local company here. They've a couple of, well, probably 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away from me here, but very good value for money, and I've used them before, they're good people. So got a skip, and what I'm going to do is set up a little ramp. I'm going to ramp from here up onto the OSB, and then from the OSB up into there, and then I can start getting a lot of this rubbish up and out and away. So dull job, but it needs to be done. Right, I've done as much clearing outside as I can bring myself to do, and it's all small bits left that need bagging up, which I'm getting a shovel later. So I've cleared all the big bits and it's just small bits now. And what I'm going to be doing now is ripping out this old kitchen. Boiler is staying in place for now because it's hot water and heating, but all of these cupboards, this old sink and everything like that, it's all going to get ripped out. We're keeping the washing machine, we're going to move that upstairs. The cooker is going. And then I can start tearing up the floor, because obviously it's this solid concrete down here, solid concrete. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. Alright, that's the big wall unit out. I've managed to keep the light switch in place, which is good and working. So that will make a big difference to me, having light in here late afternoons and early evenings and that sort of thing. Not that I'm going to be working here in the evenings, but just makes a difference. So now I can take this out up there, and I can do these ones. They're very, very solid units. This was really heavy. I took it all out as one single unit. It's in the skip, and I'm going to have to fill that now with rubble to make use of the space, because when I put these on top, it's just, unless I spend time smashing them up, which I probably will end up doing, to be fair. But yeah, big and heavy, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So I've got some base units out now. This cable here is for the thermostat on the wall up in here. So that has to stay. I'll just have to be careful of that, that's fine. Just for now. That powers the boiler and then the thermostat comes off it. Counter's off here. This is so irritating. There is no shut-off valve for these taps, and they're both main, well, one of them's tank fed from the hot water tank, the other one is mains pressure water, and there is no off switch at this, at here. What there is the drain out, so I can drain the system. So what I'll have to do is, I mean, I don't really want to drain the entire hot water tank, just to disconnect this tap. But I don't know that I've really got much other option if I'm going to be taking the whole thing out now, or I just leave the taps kind of, you know, dangling there on the copper and try and take the wall out around it and all the rest of it. It's an absolute pain. Why would they be so short-sighted as to not put an off switch on it somewhere along here? It is very irritating, but that's where I am. So I'm going to pop these off and see if there's anything back here. I doubt it, but I'll have a look. So I followed the pipes all the way up into the bathroom above and along up into the boiler, and there isn't a single shut-off valve anywhere on the pipe all the way back to the boiler, which means to decommission this tap, mains I'd have to turn off and then I can just drain it out, whatever's in the system. The cold one means I'd have to drain the entire hot tank. In fact, I think I'd have to drain both systems because it's mains fed. And these taps here, that's broken here, so I can't turn that mains off at that point there. So for now I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to work around it, and I'll kind of kick that can down the road, as it were. Leave it as long as I can, and I will sort it later. For now I'm just going to start clearing out a lot of this and seeing what I can see. I'm conscious of a couple of things. Pipes here, that one especially is a gas pipe. These ones, I'm not sure what they are. I can see they run up there next to the boiler. They don't go into the boiler and they don't tee off. They are two separate pipes there and two separate pipes there. But they obviously go somewhere into the ground. And I'm also conscious the old water pipe there and this pipe here, which again I'm unsure what it is. So I'm going to be very conscious of those and kind of carefully excavate around there and around there first, just to see the direction of travel of the pipe and get a sense of where things are going. Obviously I've got safety specs and I've got earplugs in, and yeah, let's make some mess and some noise. So it's taken me about 2 hours to clear all of these tiles, and I'm halfway through the room, and to dig out this, which I know seems absurdly slow, but this stuff is really, really thick and incredibly strong and heavy. So what I've done is I've actually called a guy, and I'm getting a man and a digger in tomorrow to come and dig this out. It's costing 350 quid to have it all cleared out, but it will be done in a day rather than what would probably take me 3 days, 4 days, and it means that I can just get on with the other parts of the job that I really need to start doing now. I want to be suspending this timber floor, I want to be clearing stuff out. I'm not going to be wasting time digging this out, and for the sake of 350 quid, actually I think that's pretty reasonable for the guy, for his time, his skill, and to get this stuff out and shoved in a skip. So I'm going to clear this barrow now, and then I'm going to have to drain down this sink. I'm just going to have to drain down the whole system so that I can shut this sink off, so that I can decommission it, because I haven't really got any other option right now, and I need that clear so that the guy can really get at it with the digger. He's bringing a doorway digger so that we can get in through here or through there if we need to, and yeah, I'm not going to be able to, I don't want to waste his time by leaving this in place. So I've turned off the water down in the street. So I think this should start to, yeah, you can see the flow reducing. Obviously we have a tank full of water upstairs in the loft as well, so I've got to run that down. I mean, this is going to cause all sorts of air locks, but I have no other choice. What a waste. So I've rigged up a pretty rough and ready system here, but you can hear the last of the water coming out the tank. I've just been emptying it out there, and I can shovel that out later. It's just an extended pipe that runs off here. And I can do the same with the mains. I ended up catching as much of the hot water as I could because I couldn't bear, this is empty now, I couldn't bear to just waste all the hot water. It's quite late in the afternoon now, 2 o'clock, the kids will be home from school soon. I could chuck them in the bath. Right, so now that the system is empty, or at least this part of it is empty, I can cut this out. So this is the hot pipe that comes down from the feed above. So anywhere that I cap this off here means the shower and the bath can still be used. This comes in from the main feed here. At this point it branches on a T, and that goes up and fills the cistern in the toilet upstairs. So I can cap it off there, and then we've still got a functioning toilet. And this is the outside tap that runs through there at this point here. So again, that's absolutely fine. I can leave that. If I cut that and I tapped it there, then no problem at all. So I'm just going to go and get some caps from the plumber's merchant, and then I can cut those out, cut them off, and that's that. Right, I've popped out and picked up a couple of compression fit caps, and I'm using this is a Barco one. When I went to buy the pipe slice, when I first needed one, they didn't have a kind of traditional typical one. They had this Barco one instead, which is extendable. It's actually really good. It doesn't quite crimp the ends in the same way, but that's not so much of an issue for this because I'm just putting a compression fitting on as a cap. But still, it's a decent piece of kit. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that one somewhere up there, and I'll cut this one somewhere over there, and then I can put the caps on. Then I'll take the pipe out in between. Right, you can see that's cut, and it has actually put a little chamfer curve on it there, just to crimp on the end, which is really nice. It's a really good little piece of kit actually. Very impressed with that. So now I've got my adjustable spanner, and I've got this here with the olive as well. Some of those, that is on nice and tight. So now, just need to do it with that one up there. Obviously when you do cut these, there is always a little bit of water left in the pipe, so it's always worth having a bucket or a cup or something just to catch the last little bits that drip out. But it's a fairly simple process. It's not complicated or scary once you know that the water's definitely off. Right, next one, and I'm done. So that's that one capped up there. You can see that little brass end there. So that's capped, and now I'm starting to pull these down, pull this whole thing out. The scrap metal guys will have this, that'll be fine. So it's good. Last little bit out. Right, this is a good stage, good place to be at. Pleased with this. So what I'm going to do now is strip all of these wall tiles ahead of the digger coming tomorrow, and then he can just scrape it all out into a barrow and I can chuck it all. So all of these wall tiles are coming off. You can see here, you can see where it's been chased into the wall there, and basically it runs along, comes to this junction here where I basically redid the roof. I rewired the upstairs of the house, and so you can see that new ring main going along there, ring circuit, and then it goes off into my son's bedroom over there. So There's actually no reason why this can't stay where it is, to be honest. What I'll do is I'll pull the socket out, I'll pull the plug out, and I'll just leave it hanging, and then I can put it back in the wall afterwards when it gets and replaster over it and put a new faceplate on it, because that wall is going to stay in place, and it is quite a useful plug socket, to be honest. In a hallway space, having plug sockets is always good. I might extend it down and just kind of move it 450 off the floor, and that'll be fine, but actually I'm not going to take it out and remove it entirely, where these ones will be removed entirely because this whole wall is going. Right, it's pretty much the end of the day now. You can see obviously where the ring circuit comes up here and branches off for the plug sockets. I think this is a really good idea, this metal capping. It's only thin, it gets hidden in the plaster. I'm going to be doing the same thing, I think, within the timber frame walls that I'm going to be doing. Just that if you drill in and you hit metal, you know to stop, basically, and you protect the cabling. So I like that method. Stripped off all the tiles and also some of the plaster that's come with it. Obviously, this whole wall is coming down, but anything I can do to reduce the amount of dust that kind of travels, the better. So I've popped off as much of the plaster as was loose. Gets really quite bonded there and up there, so it's not the end of the world to leave that. All of this will get scraped up and shoved in a skip, in the skip by the bucket on the digger. So you can see I've cleared a lot of the rubble that was here, but again, a lot of this stuff will just get scooped up in the bucket of the digger tomorrow, dumped in there, and then we can run it up on the little ramp that I've built. So you head up this way, head up there, and then it can tip in. That's the exact height of the lip of the barrow.